Welcome back to Self Talk Show, the podcast where we dive deep into the power of self talk, personal transformation, and mastering the inner dialogue that shapes our lives. I'm your show host, Mitali Uhuri, and today's episode is all about embracing the beauty of confusion, breaking free from limiting beliefs, and creating a life that truly resonates with your soul. Joining me today is a powerhouse of inspiration, Giovanna Silvestre. You might know her as the creator of the international activewear brand Confused Girl in the City, but she is also an author, entrepreneur, and self help advocate who has transformed her own journey of uncertainty into a message of empowerment. In her book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos, Giovanna shares her deeply personal story, her Hollywood career, her struggles with self doubt, and her ultimate journey to self acceptance. Today, we will be diving into some of the most powerful themes from her book, including how to turn confusion into clarity, the role of self love in personal growth, and what it truly means to manifest happiness and success. So, if you have ever felt lost, unsure of your next step, or stuck in the whirlwind of expectations, this conversation is for you. So get ready for a raw, honest, and transformative discussion with the incredible Giovanna Silvestre. Welcome, Giovanna. It's a huge honor for me to have you on my show. So without any further ado, let's begin the interview. Question number 1. Your book highlights the importance of confusion as a stepping stone of discovery. Can you share a pivotal moment in your life when you fully embraced this mindset, and how did it change the course of your journey?
Yes, about a little over a decade ago, I found myself in a situation where I realized I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I want to do here on earth. I didn't know what my purpose was, and I was very confused. And at this time, I also felt very shameful for feeling confused. I felt like I should have all the answers and I should know what I'm doing. And because I was raised to be very competitive and good at things. And so I was very ashamed for feeling confused. But I realized that it's a little ridiculous for me to feel ashamed about being confused, because aren't we all confused? Aren't we all going to go through a period of our life where we don't have all the answers and there's something that confuses us? So I thought this is very interesting that we actually shame ourselves in a time when we really need to be accepting ourselves and just really trying to discover what it is we need to discover to help us with our confusion. So, to combat this shame, I decided to start a video blog called Confused Girl in the City, because I wanted to take the shame out of being confused. And on this video blog, I did one new thing every week in an attempt to figure out who I was and what I liked and what I didn't like. And it took me on this beautiful journey of self-discovery. And that's when I realized that confusion is actually a virtue. Confusion is the fuel for your self-discovery journey. If you're never confused and you always think you know everything, what are you going to discover? However, if you find yourself in a situation where you're unsure about something, you're confused, why not look at it like something exciting, because you're about to discover something new about yourself and life?
I completely agree. Confusion is good because it makes us introspect and reflect more deeply. And more often than not, that leads us to our purpose, our passion, or even the meaning of our existence. You transitioned from working in Hollywood to becoming an entrepreneur and self-help advocate. What was the biggest internal challenge you faced during that shift, and how did you navigate it?
The biggest challenge was that I had worked so hard in the entertainment industry and I had gotten pretty high up at a very young age. And I felt like I had wasted so much time, and what a waste of effort. Because the film industry is a very difficult industry to work in, and it's a lot of hours, and it's, you have to navigate people's egos. And I felt really guilty and silly that I had wasted time. But now looking back, I realized that it wasn't a waste at all. Nothing is ever a waste in this life. I learned so many valuable lessons from working in the film industry. I learned how to have tougher skin. I learned a lot about different personalities and how people operate. And it was so many invaluable lessons. And I also, before all of this stuff has come out about Hollywood, when everybody was still in the illusion that Hollywood was this amazing place, I got to see behind the curtain and see that it wasn't such an amazing place, and that there actually is a lot of darkness in it. So there were so many great lessons, but at that time I felt really bad because I felt like I had wasted time. And also I had met so many people and I was networking all the time, and that was a huge part of my social life in Los Angeles. So not working in the entertainment industry anymore, it was kind of like I wasn't getting invited to things as much. I wasn't hanging out with those people anymore. And so my social life took a hit. And that was difficult too. But again, now I'm so grateful because a lot of those people didn't really care about me anyway. And so now I have people in my life that do really care about me.
Giovanna, I can absolutely relate to that. I was in the modeling industry. It wasn't bad at all. However, I had to take a pause to pursue my post-graduation. And once I stopped hanging out with people from that industry, I think I became invalid to them because I was no longer in the system. But anyway, I'm glad you're now surrounded by people who actually care. And that's beautiful. In your book, you explore the impact of shame and guilt on personal growth. How do you think societal expectations, particularly for women, reinforce these emotions, and what's your advice for breaking free from them?
About shame and guilt. Well, there is a difference between shame and guilt that I'll just explain. Shame has more to do with the self, that you feel like there's something inherently shameful. And guilt has to do with you actually did something and you feel guilty that you did that. So I would say in society, women, we carry both. I had a lot of shame because I was raised Catholic and I went to Catholic school my entire life. I had a lot of shame about being intimate before marriage. And I just had to come to this realization that I haven't met my guy and I don't know if I'll ever get married. So I have to stop feeling shameful about this. This shame is not mine. I don't believe in that. And I have to let that go. And so, but I do think us women, we have a lot of shame around our sexuality. If we were raised in, and I think religion's great. I think religion can really be helpful, but religion does put a lot of shame on us as well, and guilt. So those are all things to look at and question. When you feel that emotion, you have to, in that moment, go, okay, what's really going on here? Is this even mine? Or is this something I inherited from my religion, from society, from ancestors? And a lot of superficial, societal expectations of, 1 minute it's, women have to be super rail thin. The next minute you got to be curvy. The next minute you got to have a big booty or big breasts. one minute you gotta, dress less sexy, and then you gotta dress more sexy. And it's just, it's never ending. So if we're always chasing the next trend, we're going to feel very insecure about ourselves. So I think it's really important that we understand where we are having shame and guilt and where we're experiencing that within us. And that's the first step in letting it go.
Oh my God, that was really insightful. I'm sure the audience, especially women, can relate to it and find the answers they have been looking for around guilt and shame. All right, let's head to the next question. You write about self love as a foundation for living a fulfilling life. What are some of the most underrated yet powerful self love practices you have adopted that have made a real difference in your daily life?
I do believe that self-love is the fundamental foundation for living a joyful life. 100% true. Because self-love, when you love yourself, no one can take that away from you. External things in your life can be taken away. Your husband, your boyfriend, even your children, your money, everything is transient, can come and go. But your love for yourself is something that you always have for you. And I'm not talking, and not in a narcissistic, sociopathic way, but in a very real, honest, authentic relationship with yourself. For instance, some examples about some powerful self-love practices I do would be, I was a big people pleaser. I was a very big people pleaser, especially in social settings. I felt like I would have to entertain and I'd have to make everybody feel comfortable, and I wouldn't like silence. Like I felt very uncomfortable with silence, like filling in the silence. And I had to learn that, and it'd make me feel like I'd put myself on the line for other people in a way. And I had to get really real with myself about, okay, why are you doing this? And can we just stop doing this? You're not supposed to be out there making sure everybody else is okay and entertaining everybody else. You're supposed to make sure that you're okay. You're respectful and kind to everybody, but you don't need to bend over backwards and do a cartwheel, round off splits for everybody. Like, there's no need. And why not let other people make you feel good? Why do you always have to be the entertainer? So I had to take a hard look at that within myself. And also with the people pleasing, I give a lot of myself emotionally to people as well. Like I'll listen to their problems and I'll try to help them, and I really care. And then when it would come to me, if I saw that they weren't there for me, it would really hurt. So I had to take a step back and go, hey, I'm not going to do that for them anymore, because I'm bending over backwards and caring about their feelings and trying to help them, but they're not reciprocating. So by me continuing to do that and not receiving anything back, that is me betraying myself. That is not self-love. So I had to put up a boundary. So boundaries are super important when it comes to self-love. Relationships are a give and take. It's not just give and take all the time. It's give and take. So you have to make sure that within all of your relationships, there is that. And sometimes you're going to give more and then the other person's going to give more. But there has to be that reciprocity. Otherwise, it's you're not practicing self-love. You're not having good boundaries. And I would also say self-compassion. When you see that you haven't had a good boundary or you have betrayed yourself in a way, that's when you go, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you. And I write about this in my book. I have this little mantra where I look in the mirror and I say, I love you, I forgive you. And I think it's really important to look yourself in the mirror, in your eyes, and tell yourself that I love you and I forgive you, and let's let this go. Just by doing that every day about something you might feel guilty about with yourself is very, very healthy. And that's a great way to practice self-love.
What a wonderful mantra you just shared, Giovanna. I loved it. And I encourage our audience to practice this ritual every day to tap into their authentic selves and shower themselves with the kindness they have always deserved, but maybe deprived themselves of for too long. Manifestation plays a big role in your book. Many people struggle with believing in their ability to manifest their desires. What's a common misconception about manifestation that you'd like to debunk?
I think a lot of people with The Secret, which I really love The Secret, and I really believe in a lot of that. But I think there is this misconception that you can just think something and it's just going to happen. Maybe sometimes it can, but for the most part, when you want to really manifest something in your life, there needs to be wholeheartedly excitement and joy in your being around the thing you want to manifest. And you also have to take steps toward whatever it is you want to manifest. And these can be baby steps, but you have to put in the work. I look at this like a dance with the universe when it comes to manifesting. Let's look at it like it's a dance, okay? You have to show up to the dance floor looking presentable, knowing your steps, like you are ready to perform in front of all of these people. Like you did the work, you're here, you are ready. And now your partner comes in, which is life, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It comes in and you got to and then at that point, you just let go and you just dance. And you let your partner, AKA the universe, guide you. So I really do, what I've seen in my life with manifestation, and this book was a huge manifestation for me. It was incredible how it all happened. I was rejected for 2 years from publishers. And then 2 months before my father passed away, 2 publishing companies had a bidding war on my book. So I got a bigger advance than I thought was ever possible. I'm with the most amazing company. My father got to know I'm going to be a published author before he passed away, which meant everything to me. It meant the world to me. And so everything with this book happened way bigger and more amazing and this crazy divine timing than I could have ever planned for myself. And that's manifestation. Because I did the work and then I let it go. For 2 years, my agent was submitting it. I was being rejected. And I wasn't obsessing about it. I wasn't trying to control it. I wasn't hating on myself. It didn't affect my self-worth. I was just happy that I said I was going to write a book and I did it and I did my best. And I just always kind of believed that something beautiful was going to happen with it. Even though self-doubt did creep in, I am human, and I kind of questioned, but self-doubt came in not as I'm not good enough, but it came in more as, okay, well, if this doesn't work out and I don't get a publisher, then what should I do? What road would life want me to take next? And that's how I was questioning it. But because I think when we do the work and then we trust and we let go, that's where the magic happens. And it doesn't happen overnight. You got to trust and you got to trust some more. You got to have patience and then you got to have more patience. And I'm not a very patient person. So trust me, it was not easy or second nature to me. But I do believe that that is the best way to manifest.
Giovanna, firstly, please accept my heartfelt condolences to you on passing of your father. It is difficult, definitely very, very difficult, but I'm sure that he is in a much better place, and I pray for his beautiful soul. And what you said about manifestation, it's absolutely true. And I would like to congratulate you on your book, Confused Girl. It's absolutely inspiring, and I'm sure it will resonate with so many people. So, my next question is, your activewear brand Confused Girl in the city was inspired by healing crystals. What was your creative process in bringing this vision to life, and how does spirituality influence your business decisions?
Well, everything about starting my activewear line was literally just following the breadcrumbs the universe was leaving me. I actually met this healer in Los Angeles who gave me 2 big, beautiful crystals. And I was doing a lot of meditation at that time. And one day while I was meditating, I thought, oh my gosh, I want to create a yoga wear line and that has the image of these beautiful crystals on it, because I thought they were like the most beautiful things I had ever seen. And this was also at a time when yoga wasn't as mainstream and not everybody was wearing yoga leggings. This was still when the bigger brands weren't even making yoga clothes. So what I did was I would take pictures of crystals that I thought were so gorgeous, and I would print the image onto fabric, and then we would cut and sew the leggings. And the leggings are just gorgeous and they're fun, and each one is represented by a different healing crystal, and they have such beautiful intentions behind them. And as far as spirituality influencing my business decisions, at this point, spirituality influences everything, because when I think about spirituality, I think about my inner guidance system and my gut feelings on what I think is right to do. And, if there's somebody that I'm questioning and I don't know if they would be good for me to do some business with, I don't do it. I 100% trust my instincts, and it's just been like that. It's just, at first it was hard to do that, especially when something sounded really good. But after, being burned a couple times and it just being proven to me time and time again that trusting your instincts is the best thing you could ever do. So I do it.
I couldn't agree more. Trusting your intuition is the best way to navigate life with clarity and confidence, leading you toward the right choices and opportunities. Also, I love your brand story. It truly shows how the universe guided you through meditations and the crystals you received. Let's head to the next question. Social media played a key role in your journey. In an era where comparison culture thrives online, how do you maintain authenticity while growing a brand in the digital space?
I Instagram, especially a decade ago when I started my yoga wear line, Instagram was so incredibly helpful because it wasn't as big and popular as it is now. And I was able to reach so many people, and I literally created a business off of Instagram. I mean, I sold thousands of yoga clothes all over the world because of Instagram. So I do have a love and an appreciation for social media. On the other hand, I do understand that social media can be really destructive. And I'm seeing now that also that the AI is getting even smarter. And a lot of times the things that we look at are things that maybe make us feel insecure, kind of like how magazines used to make women feel insecure, like all the airbrushed images. And so there's everything on social media. So I just say, be really aware of what you're tuning into. Are you tuning into motivational, positive things? Are you tuning into women giving business tips or giving life tips or relationship tips? Or are you tuning into things that are making you feel insecure? And it's okay if it's making you feel insecure. I have a friend who's a straight man, good looking, successful, who deleted Instagram off of his phone because he said every time he was on there, he got FOMO and was feeling a little jealous. So, and I like to tell that story because I think a lot of us women think that men don't feel that way and they're not like that, but they are. They are too. We all can be affected. We're all human. And comparisons, unfortunately, run rampant. That's why I wrote a chapter in my book about comparisons. And I talk about how to use comparisons for your benefit and how when we do compare our lives with other people's lives, we're doing ourselves a disservice and them a disservice because we're usually comparing our behind the scenes with somebody else's highlight reel. And that's not fair because we don't know what's going on in their life and we don't know what is going to happen in the future in their life. Actually, there was this one girl I was so jealous of in college. And then I found out a few years back that she had passed away from cancer. And I felt so bad that I was so envious of her in college. I felt insecure because I thought she was just so perfect. And she's not here anymore. And so, everybody has their own life journey and their own destiny here. You need to concentrate on your path and what you are here for and let other people do their own thing. And yes, with social media, if you need to take a break, there is nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of comparing themselves to others, especially on Instagram, which can lead to self-doubt, unrealistic expectations, and unnecessary pressure. I really love your suggestion of taking a break from social media. A digital detox truly helps declutter our minds and raises our awareness, allowing us to see things from a bird's eye view. Your chapter on decoding romantic relationships delves into subconscious patterns. What's one personal realization about relationships that completely changed how you approach love and connection today?
Ooh, this is such a good question. I love this question. Okay, so I would definitely say that I don't take things personally like I used to. I really realized that attraction and the way people behave has nothing to do with my self-worth. And that is so key. If you can get that, then you will be able to navigate the dating world beautifully, or even your relationships. I realized that, a lot of our attraction and the people we're attracted to them because of unmet desires within ourselves. So the ways in which we didn't get love from our parents, we might seek out somebody that has a similar characteristic. Sometimes it's hard to see it at first because you're like, oh, they're not like my parents. They're totally different. But then there's certain things that happen within the relationship that are very familiar to you, and you're attracted to the familiar. And a lot of times the familiar is not pleasant. So that's number one. So when I'm overly attracted to someone, I really question why I'm so attracted to them. Like what's going on here? Is this because of an unmet desire of mine? And if so, how can I give myself what I desire? How can I give it to myself so I don't depend on this other person giving it to me? Because usually when we depend on somebody else for something to complete us, it just ends in a lot of pain and disaster. It's very painful. So, but relationships are great because it's a beautiful way of navigating and figuring out who you are. You need that reflection back to you. I like to look at relationships like a reflection, and you can experience some really beautiful moments. And I cherish a lot of those beautiful moments. But when it's time to leave and, you guys gave each other what you needed to give each other, then it's important to know when to exit. Because again, not knowing when to exit also can make that very painful. And I would just say, again, not taking it personally. If people are attracted to people based upon their own unmet needs, and then also it could be, oh, this girl looks like my mother. I'm attracted to, a lot of times people are attracted to people who look like them or their family. Not always, but sometimes. So that could be a factor too. So again, it has nothing to do with you and your unique amazingness. And, exactly. I think it's in that, and it comes to that with looks. It comes to that with personality. Like, I'm a big personality. There are men that want a quiet woman. They don't want somebody that's like, the life of the party. And before, that would kind of hurt me, and I would feel like I'm too much. But other men love it. They love it and they enjoy it, and they think I'm so fun and entertaining and get so much joy from being with me. So now I focus on the yeses and don't pay attention to the no's. And I think that's a really good strategy as well.
Wow, that is indeed a brilliant strategy. And lastly, if your readers could take away just one transformative lesson from Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos, what would you want that to be? And why?
Well, there are so many good lessons in my book, so that's a hard one. But I would say that the whole theme of my brand and my book is that confusion is actually a virtue. If you can figure out, which my book helps you do, how your confusion is your superpower, you will be able to navigate anything that this life throws at you. Because there's always going to be moments in your life where you're unsure and you don't know what's next for you, or you feel stuck. There's always going to be some sort of confusion. So if we can learn that it's actually a beautiful stepping stone into self-discovery and discovering something about life, and get a little bit excited about that. I mean, infinite possibilities are out there for you.
That is such a beautiful and insightful lesson you just shared. And that's a wrap on this incredible conversation with Giovanna Silvestre. I don't know about you, but I feel so inspired by her journey, from navigating confusion and self-doubt to building a life and business aligned with her soul's purpose. Giovanna, thank you so much for sharing your story, your wisdom, and your beautiful energy with us today. Your journey is a powerful reminder that confusion isn't a setback, it's an invitation. And as mentioned by you, confusion is a virtue. It's a sign that transformation is knocking on our door, and we have the power to embrace it, redefine our path, and create a life that truly lights us up. If you love this episode and want to dive deeper into Giovanna's wisdom, be sure to check out her book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos, and follow her journey on social media. You can find her at Confused Girl LA or head to her website, www.confusedgirlinthecity.com. Also, be sure to check out the link of her book in the episode description. And of course, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us keep bringing you powerful conversations like this one. Until next time, keep talking to yourself with kindness, stay open to the journey, and remember, your confusion is just the beginning of something amazing. Thank you.